It's my first video. Going to be changing the inner and outer tie rod. It's my first time making a video, and it's the first time I've ever done this, but why not try to save a few $100? Tire is busted, can't drive the car, so instead of getting it towed, I figured watch some YouTube videos and see if I could do this myself. At least get the thing driving so I could drive to the mechanic rather than be at their mercy getting it towed there. Just spent about an hour watching some videos on YouTube. Feel pretty good about it. We'll see what happens. Get the jack lined up right so the car doesn't fall on me, causing me a lot more money in hospital bills than getting the car fixed would have cost me. Get the spare tire off here. See, the inner and outer tie rod were so smashed by the light pole that I hit that the wheel wouldn't even turn when I turned the steering wheel. So at the very least I'm going to try to change the inner and outer tie rod. Alright, so I'm at the 17-inch. I'm going to get this sucker off right here. Came off pretty easily actually. Pops right out. Wow, it looks like this is not going to work out that well. This stuff got pushed in pretty good. Wow. Alright, I'm going to come back to this. Okay, the first step is loosening up the outer tie rod. This guy. So the inner tie rod, outer. I'm going to get rid of the cotter pin first. This little guy right here. Make sure the sucker never slips out. That would be bad. Okay, and there it is, the cotter pin. Came right out of this guy right here. Pain in the butt. Right on top of there. And now I gotta unbolt the bottom of that, at least loosen it up. And here we go. Loosen this guy up right here. Just enough. Not off though. Now, gotta loosen up that nut right there. Right there. And unscrew this guy so we can get the boot onto that guy. Okay, now it's time to loosen this sucker up. Got a 19-inch on this guy, vice grips on the other side. Gonna hammer it in for a little torque. That worked. I'll loosen this up a little bit. I'm gonna hammer this out. And there it comes. Okay, so before taking off the outer tie rod, I'm going to count the amount of threads because it's got to be put in the exact same spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what we're going to do now is replace or install the inner and outer tie rod and the bellows boot that goes over the inner tie rod. We're going to need new inner tie rod, outer tie rod, bellows boot, the inner tie rod tool kit right here for tightening, and the torque wrench which will actually tighten it. So we're going to start by screwing the inner tie rod right into the rack and pinion, right into the rack. Nice and snug. Okay, after a real pain in the butt with these tools. Finally got this on right at 40 pounds, foot-pounds torque, just like Honda requires. Okay, so after getting the inner tie rod in there, there's no play, so that's good. Next thing we're gonna do is get the old bellows boot on top. A little grease. I'm gonna just grease it up. Be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to be getting this bellows boot over the inner tie rod. Okay, to get to the back end of the bellows boot, you gotta come over the top of the engine. I'm gonna get it on and then I'll come back. Okay, got the bellows boot on. Attach it to the hose, rack and pinion hose right there, and now I'm gonna use a trusty old zip tie to tie it down. And there we go, all set in the back. So we got that on there. Now the outer tie rod, we're gonna use some anti-seize grease. Good there. Now when I took off the outer tie rod originally, it was 23 turns. That is what I'm going to do now. Okay, 1, 2, and 23. Tighten her up real good. Okay. So, there we go. Inner and outer tie rod are on. Boom! How you doing? That is ultimately going to go into this knuckle right here. See? Right there. And that's coming next.